Ano, hello, welcome to this new video of learning Malagasy. Today I will talk about some important Malagasy verbs. So my last video was a little bit too long, and so I have decided that today I will break down the lesson in order to make them shorter for you. For example, I'd like to talk about some verbs, but today I will talk only about one, the first one here. So first of all, let's see all of the verbs. Before I start, I'd like to remind you that I am teaching the Malagasy of Antananarivo and the Central Madagascar, which is also the official language, but in other regions they speak different dialects that can be quite different. So if you will be working or traveling somewhere outside the center of Madagascar, you may not find the same words. Okay. So to say to eat, we say misakafu, misakafu, misakafu. To say or to speak, we say miteni and miresaka. I put the underline where we have the tonic accent, so you know how to pronounce the words, so that you know how to pronounce. To buy, mi vidi. To learn, mianacha, can be also to study. It can be also to study. To like, tia, or to love, to. Yeah. To sing, mira, mira. To go, makani. To come, makati. To pray, mivavaka. 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 All right, so we're going to talk about the verb to eat. To eat can be translated in two verbs. So to say to have a meal, we say misakafu, which comes from the word, the noun sakafu. Sakafu means meal, food, meal and food. And if you want to say to eat, really, we say miinana. So let's see example to understand the difference. So for example, if you want to ask at what time do we eat today, this is a simplified structure because, of course, we don't just ask at what time we eat. Maybe we want to ask at what time do we eat lunch or dinner, but I have simplified it. So the question in Malagasy will be this, and that's how we can explain the difference between misakafu and miinana. Aminifiri means at what time. Sika, it's pronounced sika, means we, it's a subject, personal pronoun. Misakafu, to have a meal, and Anjuani means today. Nu, we put nu before the verbs when I don't know how to explain it in English. It's almost like a consequence of at what time. Okay. So, for example, if you want to say at what time we will learn Malagasy, we can say am firtsika nu mianacha Malagasy, Tinkas, Malagasy language. So here we go with misakafu, which means having to have a meal. Another example. So here I have changed the color because to explain in simple terms that this is the past and this is the present tense of the same verb. Present, misakafu, and past tense, nisakafu. Maybe I will add the accent to simplify things. So here I want to ask, maybe you recognize the little word here because we've seen it in the last lesson. Although if you haven't seen the last video, Eva means simply already. So here I want to ask, did the child or the children, Niankisi, we don't have singular and plural in Malagasy. Sorry. So I want to ask, did the children eat already? But more in the sense of did they had a meal? Not just like the act of eating, but having a meal, having had a meal. So Eva means already. Ve is a question particle that we put in all our questions. And ni is an article, the children. And nisakafu again is the past of to have a meal, the past of nisakafu. So we say, Efa nisakafu ve nyankizi. Efa nisakafu ve nyankizi. Did the children have a meal already? Okay, now we are going to talk about to eat, excuse me, which has a different meaning. So here we want to ask a person if they can eat pork. Sometimes for religious reasons, many people cannot eat pork meat. So you may want to ask before offering. So the question here is, can you eat pork meat? Afaka can, now is you. Subject, we put it at the end. Minana is to eat. Enaksua is meat pork. It comes from two words. Ena, which means meat, and ksua, that means pork, although you don't pronounce enakisua. I do pronounce sometimes because my first language is Italian, so sometimes I do pronounce words a little bit like pronouncing every letter, but Malagasy we say enaksu. Okay. So afaka minana enaksu ve enau. Can you eat pork? And ve it's the question particle again. So it's different. You cannot say, of course, afaka misakaf enaksuve, no, because it just doesn't make sense to ask, can you have a meal pork meat? You have to ask, can you eat pork meat? So that's the difference, not pork milk. So that's the difference between miinana and misakafu. Let's see together the last example. Here we want to say my children or my child. Again, we don't know if it's plural or singular. My child doesn't like. See is a negation, means not. Doesn't like to eat fromage, cheese. It's a French word. I'm sure there is not a Malagasy word for fromage. So yes, maybe they change it like fromage, but it comes from the French word. And anyway, you say fromage, everybody understands. So again, my child or children doesn't like to eat cheese. Titia, but Malagasy will say sti. Titia minana. Titia mi inana. Fromage ni zanaku. Okay. I cannot use the verb misakaf. Again, it's like with the example of the pork, I cannot say my child or children doesn't like to have a meal fromage. So we have to use the verb minana. Okay, that was the difference between misakafu and minana. I'll stop the lesson here and till next time. Ciao, ciao.